Hey, this is Scott with the Iowa Association of Electric Cooperatives. Got a quick program on attitude we're going to talk about. So, attitude is everything. So, there's a crew working on a radio tower, and one of the workers, elevated in a position, unfortunately slips and falls a long ways, striking the fence on the way down. And all the other workers look down and think, oh my lord, this guy's dead. And to their amazement, he's moving. The paramedics arrive on scene and expecting to find somebody who's died from the fall. They find a person that's alert and talking to them, injured, but talking to them. Of course, in the ambulance, the worker, realizing how far he'd fallen, kind of in a panic, looks to the paramedic and says, how bad am I? And the paramedic says, hey, you're actually a lot better than I expected. You're doing pretty good. So it gives him hope. He feels a lot better about this, and the paramedics take him to the hospital. And they arrive at the hospital, they unload him, and they continue to talk to him, and he's feeling good about his situation. He gets to the emergency room, and of course, there's a team of physicians looking at him, and by the looks of the faces of all the people in the emergency room, he realizes then, oh my lord, I'm not doing too good, and he starts to get a little worried about his prognosis. And of course, they ask him the typical question, sir, are you allergic to anything? And he thinks for a moment and he says, yeah, apparently gravity. And of course, everybody laughs and it kind of changes the mood. And I guess what I want to tell you is that the attitude at which you go into a problem may determine the outcome of that problem. Pain is mandatory, suffering is optional. I heard this from a friend of mine who was dealing with another friend that was passing away of cancer and dying of cancer, and wondering how in the world do you deal with the pain and knowing that you're going to die, and of course the person said, I have to deal with the pain. I don't have a choice in that, but I don't have to deal with the suffering. Suffering is a choice. So as we move forward, let's realize that attitude is everything. Attitude is a choice. Webster's definition of attitude, of course, is a settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something, typical one that is reflected in a person's behavior. It's also a position of the body proper to or implying an action or mental state. In flying, when you're flying an aircraft, the attitude at which an airplane is entering and changing the atmosphere is another way to look at attitude. Either way, we're in control of some of these. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. If you have a flat tire, your vehicle doesn't offer good control. You're not in control. So having a bad attitude leaves you with a lack of control as well. Sometimes it takes a wrong turn to get to the right place. We don't always end up where we think we're going to go, but having a good attitude in the journey is important. Patience is not an ability to wait, it's the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. So we all have to wait for things. In fact, we've all heard the saying, good things come to those who wait. Being patient and waiting for the right opportunity to do things. I know I've tried to get a vehicle into positions to do work when it was too muddy to do so. If we would have waited to do it on a better day, we would have had a much better outcome and had a lot less expended energy. A positive attitude will lead to a positive outcome. I truly believe this. Having a good attitude about something will much more likely result in a better outcome. I love this quote from Winston Churchill. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. Again, the better your attitude, the better the outcome. Life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. You ever found yourself worrying about something that there was no reason to worry about? Have a good attitude about everything you enter into, and it will turn out better. You may not be able to control every situation and its outcome, but you control your attitude towards it, how you deal with it. Again, you choose your attitude. Do not let somebody control your emotions. Like this one from Bill Gates. Don't compare yourself with anyone in this world. If you do so, you're insulting yourself. When you find yourself comparing yourself to others, maybe on how they work or what they do, thinking that their life may be easier or more difficult than yours, You don't know what they're doing. I know a lot of times in a utility world, we find ourselves comparing each other to one other's workload. And we think, well, it would be nice to sit in the office as opposed to have to work out in the cold. But on those beautiful days, it would sure nice to be outside working rather than stuck in an office. We all have good and bad about everything we do. Life has no remote. Get up and change it yourself. Mark A. Cooper. I know as a kid, we didn't have remote control TVs, so when I was a child, I had to get up and change the channel for my family as the smallest kid in the family. You don't have a remote control of what you do. Sometimes it does feel like others are running your remote control, however. I like this one. A positive attitude may not solve all your problems, but it will annoy enough people to make it worth the effort. Sometimes being happy in the midst of chaos is kind of fun to watch other people get frustrated on how positive you are. I know my son used to drive a snowplow, and of course, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning to go out and move snow when it stormed was a really annoying thing to most people. And I encouraged him to try and be positive while he was doing this. And he did find joy in the fact that everybody else just seemed mad when he was happier. Although it caught on, it was contagious. Other people started to do the same thing, and it became kind of a joke. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change the way you think about it. Again, look for the good in everything you do. A great attitude becomes a great mood, which becomes a great day, which becomes a great year, which becomes a great life. I believe this. I truly believe this. And the happier you are, the happier the people are around you. Before getting upset, always ask yourself, will it even matter in 6 months, in a year, or in 5 years? If the answer is no, just let it go. You know, I had an uncle that his rules to live by was happiness is contagious. And he was that guy that was just always happy. Every time you saw him, he had a smile on his face. His name was Jim Hunter. And I remember asking him one time, Jim, why are you so happy all the time? And he said, I'm not. But he learned when he was young that he really didn't like being around people that weren't happy. And it seemed like the happier you are, the happier are people around you. So try to be happy. It's contagious. People may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. Be that person that when somebody's around you, they feel joy, not the person that when somebody's around you, they feel frustration and anger. A healthy attitude is contagious, but don't wait to catch it from others. Be a carrier. Be so happy that when others look at you, they become happy too. I want you to spend a little bit of time right now and write down the 5 things that make you the happiest at work. And if you can't come up with 5 things that make you happy at work, you really need to reevaluate your attitude about work. So 5 things that make you happy at work. Now, you could have more than 5. I'm totally okay with that. In fact, I'm excited to think some of you would. If it's a person, write it down. If it's particular people you work with that make your day. If it's a treat that somebody brings in, maybe they make it themselves, maybe their spouse makes it, maybe their mother makes it, but write that down. What makes you happy? Please share some of your list with other people, particularly if it's a person. Let them know that they make you happy. Let them know that. It's a good thing to do. I just want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today and ask that you really focus on your attitude and the positive things in your life. Thank you very much.